Hi there. This is Gabe Belanger. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a ChatGPT, privacy related to ChatGPT, and how it's possible to keep your GPT, any information you use with it, maybe your own internal information or client's information, how to keep that all 100% confidential. So there is a way to do it. It is not super simple and straightforward, but I want to talk a little bit to start out with just about how ChatGPT uses the information. So I'm going to go to the first slide. So yes, ChatGPT and privacy, how to get GPT with 100% confidentiality. And, the value of the GPT or these large language models is that you can get it to analyze and work with lots of documents, different formats of documents, and then ask it questions. It can also be extended. It has an API, so you can get programs to automatically do things. So it's kind of like having a person there that you can feed information to and then get it to do things like possibly make calls, schedule appointments, all kinds of things based on what information you feed it. So when you go right into ChatGPT and you start providing information, just know that it's not confidential. Okay. So let's get to that first slide talking about it. So no, ChatGPT is not confidential. It logs, users' information to train its models. So if you're asking it a question or saying, Bob Smith said this, is that true? This information could be used to train their model. It could also be used to share, this private information could be shared with third parties like vendors or legal authorities. So it is monitored, which is fair enough. And they did, they're subject to cybersecurity issues as well. They did have an incident where some information was exposed. So no, ChatGPT is not confidential. And then you say, aha, well, what if we turn on ChatGPT confidentiality? And so that's a fair point if we look at that. But before we get to the idea of ChatGPT's privacy, well, why does privacy matter with ChatGPT in the first place? Why do we actually care about privacy with ChatGPT? You're putting information. I'm a small company. What does it matter if I put in some private information? I'm sure they won't use it. Okay, so that's a fair point. But let's pretend, let's take this story. You love ChatGPT. You load some personal customer information and reports, and then you ask ChatGPT to analyze and sort the information, saving you lots of time. Great. Unfortunately, you don't think about the fact that all of this information can be shared by ChatGPT, or it can be used to train on its model. So then a few years later in our story, your clients are angry because the newly trained ChatGPT has their sensitive information about their business. They have filed a complaint with the Canadian government and they threaten to sue. So now you're in a situation where you had no harmful intent. You're just trying to get your information analyzed. I can think of scenarios where you might have a report of a whole bunch of information about a company or your clients, and then you're just using ChatGPT to get the quick answer, like how did this work with this client? When was this completed? That's really what ChatGPT is great at. So there are a lot of scenarios where I see that this could be a problem that people just don't think about. So that's why it matters. Let's not even talk about the fact that you are held responsible by the Canadian government for where the data resides and who views the data. There's things like PIPEDA, which is the personal privacy statements and agreements. And then we have healthcare and we have financial rules that we have to follow. And you, as the owner and custodian of the data, are 100% accountable and responsible. So that's why this kind of matters with ChatGPT. You can load all this information potentially. So what about ChatGPT Enterprise Privacy? Well, this is their statement. You own and control your data. We don't train on your business data. It looks pretty good here. They do have to worry about the fact that, the law may require some access to this, but it looks pretty good here. The problem here is that they may still, monitor and view this information, whether, it's for their own reasons or other reasons. And where is this data stored? Is it stored in the United States, where the law, of the land might be different? If you're a legal firm and you put something about a Canadian person in ChatGPT Enterprise Privacy, the door is still open. So there are some who feel that maybe it's not going to be safe and fully 100% confidential. And then what happens is any leaked information or anything that is found, maybe it's shared by ChatGPT somehow, or maybe they use it to train their model. Well, now you're responsible because you put it there, which is fair enough. It's a big responsibility, especially if you're in the legal, financial, or healthcare, or just anywhere where sensitive information might be leaked. So moving on, what about Microsoft Azure OpenAI Privacy? Is it any better? Well, again, it looks pretty good here. Your prompts, inputs, and completions, your embeddings, and your training data, not available to other customers, not available to OpenAI, used to improve OpenAI models. It's not used. Not used to improve any Microsoft or third party, not used automatically improving Azure AI models. So it looks pretty good here. This isn't like the full details. And by the way, I'm going to put a lot of links in the description of this live so you can look at some of these details yourself. But Microsoft does monitor OpenAI. So it does monitor OpenAI to detect and mitigate against recurring content and or behaviors that suggest use of the service in a manner that may violate the code of conduct or other applicable product terms. So we don't have 100% confidentiality here, and that's fair enough. There are probably laws requiring these cloud companies like Microsoft and OpenAI to maintain this data. So again, they do still monitor it. Microsoft does through their systems. Now, you can apply to Microsoft for a monitoring exemption. So how can customers get an exemption from abuse monitoring and human review, which is kind of like the minimum? Well, you need to apply based on the rules they have here. On the website, there's a form where you can apply, and this would be for things that are, sensitive, highly confidential, legally regulated, et cetera, et cetera. But again, this is an application process. Even beyond this, if it's not being monitored, there is still some doubt that it's on the cloud. With Microsoft, I don't know 100%, but pretty good chance you can get this data to be stored in Canada. So at least we know the data is in Canada, but it is possible that some of it may not be in Canada or may be moved back and forth here and there to the United States or another country. So there's a little bit of an open door. There's a little bit of stress or concern if you were, for example, a financial institution using these services. So that's really what I wanted to just talk about. So, you can use ChatGPT with 100% confidentiality. So how do we do this? Well, the thing about ChatGPT and the real power of it is we want to use the large language model. So the way where we can kind of chat and ask questions of the AI or ChatGPT to answer things. So feed it a whole bunch of information. Maybe it's a 100-page manual about how your company operates. So you feed it in to the large language model. And then when people are trying to figure out how to behave in certain circumstances, you just ask it questions. You say, Bob Smith wants to do this. Does it fit with our code of conduct? And you just ask it, and then you'll get an answer from ChatGPT. So you can see the real power of it. But you need to feed in those private documents there. So if you need to have 100% confidentiality, maybe also these records, for example, one use case would be getting a report about a certain kind of work that you did for all of your clients, feeding that report into one of these large language models, and then asking questions. How quickly did we complete this work? How many times did this person work on it? It's just an amazingly powerful tool. And you can extend it beyond that as well. You can have this large language model, you can connect to it, have it make some decisions, and then send those decisions out to an application where it can actually, schedule an appointment or call someone or do all kinds of other powerful things. So yeah, so to get the ChatGPT or a large language model with 100% confidentiality, we can download a local copy of a LLM large language model such as ChatGPT. You can run it from your laptop. So you're running this large language model from your laptop, and I'll give you a couple links in the description to show you where people have done a little bit of a run through. And then you can train it on your own private data. So I myself have thought about a report where I can just have, right now we kind of have people read our reports and audit it and look for things that may help us out. For example, how quick did we resolve this type of issue? How many hours did we spend for this client over the last year? So we can read and audit and check all these things periodically. Also good for quality control. But if I was to put that report into ChatGPT, first of all, it wouldn't read it perfectly because it's not in the right format. But secondly, that information could get out. So we can use that information in this local version of our large language model and then train it. And then we can say, well, you have all our records for the last year. Your staff can just ask questions, or even better, we can extend it. And we can have a program that asks the questions and shoots it out. And you can imagine that this could even be done on a database, a local database, and then run in real time, which is really, unleashing the power of what this is all about, AI. So you can use Hugging Face and a LangChain to accomplish this task. So there's a low-code method, but you may need help in getting it set up. So what Hugging Face is a framework. It allows you to download a bunch of different, you pick the large language model, download that to your computer, and then use LangChain to train that. So you would take, let's pretend you have a 100-page process manual for your company, has a lot of confidential information you never want getting out. It would really be damaging to you. So you get the local, the LLM on the large language model, LLM, on your laptop. You use LangChain to feed in that 200-page document into that LLM, okay, on your laptop, nowhere else, not on the internet, nothing, with the same power of that LLM. And now you can ask it questions about how to proceed. If Bob Smith wants to do A, B, and C, how are we supposed to do it? You can just ask these questions, and you're getting the true power of the ChatGPT concept. It's all confidential. It's all on your laptop. Now, of course, you have to keep your laptop secure and private. As long as you do that, you're good. If you had a laptop that was fairly powerful and it was not on the internet at all, well, that's a pretty easy way to do this. But if you wanted to extend it, as I said, with LangChain, then what you can do is you can connect into a local database of information, have the LLM figure out some answers, and then using the API or the ways to talk and connect to each other, LangChain can be used to have it automatically do things. For example, every time this customer changes the status of a ticket, for example, we take these 3 steps. One of those steps could even be a call or scheduling the client automatically based on another tool that you have, for example, Calendly or Microsoft 365 Booking, which allows for that. So again, we get the information that we want to train. We get the local, the large language model, the LLM, on your laptop. We train the LLM, and then on that laptop, you're able to use it. If you want to extend it with LangChain, you can do that and have it automate and do other processes as well. But the information is all 100% confidential as far as it goes with having it on your laptop. So that's really the way to get the confidentiality. Now, that's not going to be something you could figure out yourself, very likely. There are some low-code ways to do it with Hugging Face, but what I would suggest is to have, speak to an AI person. It's something that you can ask me, and I can help you figure out how to get this to work. Presently, in a use case that we have, we're doing a lot of auditing on how we handle our tech tickets. And I know this is taking a while. It takes quite a bit of time. and it's not exactly fun, and it takes a lot of effort. So we're reading and reviewing and auditing and checking that we're doing everything right. And I know if we get these reports in to a local computer using one of these LLMs, we can just ask all these questions. And from there, we can build an application that asks the questions and then takes the proper action. So that's really where we're going with AI, so that we can be sure that our internal data plus our client's data is all private. Now, it can be on a laptop, as I keep saying, but it could also be on a local network, and you can have 2 or 3 different people connecting and sharing it, or you can actually train the model and then everyone can have a copy of it. And then you can do periodic updates. You can retrain it every quarter, give people another version of that updated model, and now they have fresh information to do their work. The amount of effort required to understand your company's policies or onboard an employee, it's a lot of effort. And many companies I know don't have anything at all around this. They ask questions, or they have some kind of rough idea in documentation. So wouldn't it be great to take the documentation, maybe write a little bit of it once and for all, and now have your own internal process chatbot that you can ask and then extend with LangChain to get it to actually interact with the information that it sees, how we're supposed to behave with events, and take actions like, for example, scheduling a client or scheduling someone internally. So that's what I have to say about this. I hope it was informative to you, but just to get back to it here, to get ChatGPT with 100% confidentiality, using Hugging Face and LangChain, we can get the large language model like a ChatGPT on your computer. You can feed in data that's confidential if you're a lawyer, if it's health record, whatever it is. You can feed it into ChatGPT. You can ask it questions. Boom. Now you've possibly saved yourself 10 hours a week or more. If you want to extend it beyond that, you can get LangChain to connect in to and use that ChatGPT that's on your laptop, and it can accomplish tasks automatically. And it just, the name chain is in there because it can do several tasks on a chain and just make things much easier. So that's what I wanted to cover here. If you're looking to use ChatGPT, you're worried about getting some private information out there in a couple of years when the new model, or a couple months when the new model comes out, and your client's information or your internal information is there, the fix is for it to have somebody like us set up a local version of ChatGPT on your laptop, train it with your documents or your records or whatever, and then you can simply ask it questions to get the information you want, maybe cutting the amount of time by 10 compared to something that I do now, which is like auditing tickets. So that's something we're moving towards ourselves. So if you need help with this, please feel free to let me know. And as I said in the description of the video, I'm going to put in a bunch of different links giving you a little bit more information, including how Hugging Face and LangChain might work together. But chances are you'll need a little bit of guidance. So I'll make sure my email address is there so you can contact me. So I don't see any comments or any questions there. So I'm going to end it here, but thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a good day.